Hey everybody, my name is Felix Wolf, and welcome to a segment on my channel called Christian Wolf Reviews, also known as CW Reviews. And for my first review, I'm actually going to take a look at a comic book. But it's not a comic book that's from any of the major comic book labels like Marvel or DC or Vertigo or whatnot. Nope. I'm going to instead review a comic book that was made by a good friend of mine named Bobsheaux. I'll put a link to his YouTube and Blip TV channels in the description below. This comic is simply called Cadaver Hills #1. The story begins with the mysterious figure who bought an old haunted mansion that he wants to convert into a hotel. Our main character's name is Grunstein, who happens to be a skeleton with an eyeball hanging out. Creepy? Yeah, classy. And is joined by 4 other ghouls who go by Vincent, Ingrid, Burgess, and Chef Eater, who doesn't seem to have a mouth. We'll get to that later. The whole comic is basically a collection of mini-stories around the hotel and the 5 main characters. In our first story, Grunstein gives us a tour of his luxurious hotel, along with introducing us to the other employees, and shows us to our room for the night. But then, just like that, we get killed by Grunstein, who was attempting to kill the ghost who was trying to scare us out of our sleep. Well, that's one way to kill someone off, isn't it? The next few stories, which include Bon Appetit, The Birds, It Came From Someplace Else, and Who Done It, are funny short stories that revolve around the ghoulish companions of Grunstein. Bon Appetit stars Chef Eater attempting to deal with a fly buzzing around in his kitchen, only for us to realize that he's actually making fly soup. Sounds yummy. Okay, this is something I don't get. How does Chef Eater sample the food he's cooking? He doesn't have a mouth, so how does he know if his food tastes good, or if it's even edible?
Ah, now that is a very good question, and I am so happy that you asked. Well, first of all, I drew him like that because it's just plain creepy, and second of all, a chef without a mouth? Not only is that just visually ironic, but it also opens up a floodgate of opportunities. Maybe he can actually taste his food with his acute sense of smell. Maybe he actually can't taste his food and he doesn't know how horrible his food actually is. Or maybe he actually does have a mouth, just not where you think. Something wrong?
Yeah. How exactly did you get onto my review?
Oh, gotta go. Bye.
Well, okay then. So moving on. The Birds centers around Grunstein attempting to get a tan. Not exactly sure how that works, but okay. Only for some birds to shit on him. Hey, what do you call a very rude bird? A mockingbird.
That was a pun. That was a pun!
Afterwards, he gets Vincent to feed some rice to the birds to get rid of him. Hey, you know what they say about rice?
Shut the fuck up!
Alright, no more puns. Jesus. It Came From Someplace Else. It's about a space alien landing in the hotel and attempting to, what else, take over the world.
Of course!
But due to his size, he suffers a most painful death due to a can of bug spray, I'm assuming, being sprayed by Ingrid. You go, girl. Who done it? Shows us the wrong way to play Clue, as it shows Vincent confessing to the murder only 5 minutes after starting the game. If only they'd played life.
Disappointment in the game of life.
The next story, A Geen Getaway, involves a man by the name of Fred Geen, how very subtle, checking in for the night. He acts very strangely around Grunstein and Vincent, mostly by not letting them carry his bags for him. Later that night, we find Mr. Geen is actually a serial killer who is really at the hotel just to bury his latest victim. But while digging the grave on the grounds, he gets attacked by Vincent, who hangs him upside down in the basement. You do not mess with Vincent Price.
Wrong Vincent, dude.
Shut up, this is my review. Grunstein then informs Mr. Geen that there is a burial fee for $20, which Vincent happens to find in his coat pocket. Then they leave him to hang in the basement, thus bringing the story to an end. And if you come during the holiday season, you could bury 2 for the price of 1. The next story goes by the name of Bloodbath. A young woman is fixing to take a bath, but the candles she is using appear to be toxic, and slips underneath the water and dies. Grunstein is informed by Vincent that there is now a vacancy, and Vincent tells the guest to try the special soup. Our final story is a very dark retelling of Jack and Jill. The words are the same, but it shows Jill murdering Jack by pushing him off the hill, killing him. Jill is charged with murder and is sentenced to death, with a cameo by Bobsheaux as the prosecutor in the courtroom scene. The story ends with Jill's execution in the electric chair. The comic ends with a final note from the characters hoping we all enjoyed this first issue. And that was Cadaver Hills #1. When Bobsheaux asked me to describe this first comic, he asked for 3 words. And my 3 words are, more Cadaver Hills. Prose. The artwork is very good and it ties very well in with the theme of the comic. The characters are all likable, and the humor is pretty funny. Cons. Some of the stories could have been a little bit longer. Not by much, but just a little bit. And honestly, the alien story didn't really fit in with the overall theme. I mean, this is kind of a horror comedy comic book, and the alien one was a bit more science fiction. Overall, this is a very good first issue. And I'll give it a score of 9 out of 10. Looking forward to the next issue. Well, thanks for watching. I'm Felix Wolf, and I'll see you next time.
When he was a boy, he wanted to play down by the sea. At age 13, every day after school, he would always sail around the lake. All the people would stand and stare as he sailed around with precision and care. Despite all the hats and the way he would stand, he looked just like a Navy man. All the townsfolk would gather and say and sing away, Captain Albert's Alexander.